What is up, nerd? It's me, your buddy pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to, welcome to my new studio in the new apartment, episode 148 of HeyArcher. Had to bring in the man himself, you have kept this channel going, actually, this entire time, while I've not been making any content, you and Sal. So, Anthony, in the house, sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and you're too kind. Obviously, I had help, Mr. Sal, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, listen, you're the boss. We had to show you that you can leave the store and we won't burn it down.
That is
So,
that
you
is a
know,
that is so close to home. I don't think you understand, or maybe you do, and that's why you said it.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, no, hey, Happy New Year. Happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our pleasure. I mean, I enjoy it. Sal, I don't know if you gotten this vibe, or anybody watching has gotten this vibe who's seen him. Sal's very excited to be a part of this.
Yeah,
So he's kind of like I said, I am excited. I've been excited to do it and I enjoy doing it, but it's kind of like, I don't know if I gave you this energy, but he's very pumped to do it, and that kind of makes me even more pumped to do it. So it's kind of, you know, it's becoming a self-perpetuating engine, and
that
hopefully some nasty Russians don't try to steal us to power their country.
that's a
And
that's
now
a
we
good point.
got pulled.
There you go. Well, I mean, you guys brought up some really good topics over the last couple weeks, and in our group chat, we've talked about some things. We were talking about things before the show even started, and I had to keep stopping you because I was like, "That's stuff we could talk about here on the show." So,
Yeah.
um, so disclaimer, everybody. One, if random lights turn off, it's because I'm still finalizing the room, lights, all that stuff. So I apologize. Two, heavy spoilers. Anthony and I have both seen Spider-Man, all of Hawkeye. Um, what else came out? What am I missing?
Boba Fett,
Book of Boba Fett. Um,
Matrix.
I finished The Matrix. You started The Matrix, and surprisingly, we may talk about Young Justice if there's time.
Hmm.
So if you don't want spoilers on any of that stuff, definitely pay attention down below to the timestamps. I bet you thought I was going to say turn off the video or turn off the audio. No, that's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say use the timestamps down below and skip around to avoid the spoilers of what you don't want spoiled. With that being said, we might as well start at the top with the highest grossing movie of the year, Talk of the Town. Noobs, regulars, hardcores, everybody has nothing but good things to say about this movie. We have nothing but good things to say, I'm assuming, about this movie. But I feel like we should just try to dig up some complaints anyway, just to be, just to get out of the box there. Get out of the echo chamber, if you would. Obviously, I'm talking about Spider-Man, No Way Home. So, for the record, first show of the year, first podcast of the year. You've now seen it since your last episode recorded. Anthony, what'd you think of the movie?
I was shocked in the great way when, and we said spoilers, but spoilers again.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when uh, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up, I was kind of again bouncing in my seat,
Mm-hmm.
hitting the person next to me like, "You don't get it, you don't get it."
Similar to
And she's like, "I
Ghostbusters, it
get
sounds
it." I'm
like.
like, "But you don't get it." Um, I kept to my no spoilers, no more trailer thing,
You
and
did.
I think Aaron is doing that for Batman, and
Yes.
I'm doing that for Batman as well. Like,
Yes.
so yeah, so like I saw some stuff, accidentally on Instagram, but it was kind of like, you're scrolling. I don't know why I'm miming what I'm doing. You scroll and I saw something and I'm like, wait, what is? Oh God, no! And I skipped it and I didn't. And in my head I'm like, all right, even if I saw anything, no, it's fake. It's all fake. It's
Yeah.
all fake.
Yeah.
Um, the movie itself, I really enjoyed it. I went out of my mind, obviously, for Charlie Cox's cameo and Andrew and Toby.
Mm.
Um, it. was a really good movie. It showed Peter Parker like growing up. He still didn't use his brain too much, but he used his brain finally when he met his other Peters
Mm.
and things like that. It's still I okay, a complaint. I wonder, did Marvel write themselves into the corner, or was this part of the grand plan that they always say they had? Like how Kevin Feige has supposedly, I think way back when Sal told me this, so I apologize if I butcher it, but I think he said there was something like some sort of a scroll that Feige has charting where he wants the MCU to go. Like he supposedly has played like the super long game, and obviously things have changed because there was supposed to be an Inhumans movie and things like that.
Yeah.
But I part of me feels like they kind of wrote themselves into a corner because I do have questions. I mean, we all have questions out of it after it, but it's like it's odd, because like jumping right to the end to like which is where I have most of my issues. It's like, did
Mm.
he okay, so he's been erased from everybody's memory.
Mm.
What Happy just completely believes that this random kid is at May's, you know, grave. Happy doesn't even how does Happy think he knows May Parker? Why
Mm.
does Happy know May Parker?
Mm.
Peter Parker is forgotten from all history, from everybody's mind. Okay, but he rented an apartment and he's going to get his GED, so he still has a social security number and a birth certificate.
Yeah.
How does, you know, like I guess if that's the case, I guess it doesn't really matter considering that he's in New York City that nobody knows him because, that's New York. But, like if you want me to get nitpicky, it's things like that. Same thing like I said after The Winter Soldier, which is another movie that I have really no gripes with except for when I go to pick it apart. And I think one of the only ones I can really come up with, Sal and I did this years ago before we ever were rambling.
Mm.
Uh, Winter Soldier complaint. Why the hell does Scarlett Johansson squeeze into the cat suit after she's been in the when she was in disguise as the old woman? That makes no sense. That just because she got on the helicopter, she said, "Wait, wait, wait," and stuffed herself into the cat suit.
Mm.
Stupid things like that.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to get nitpicky with Spider-Man, I can get nitpicky like that, but I don't want to. It was great, like seeing him, like all the hate, all the issues he was getting, and of course, like I thought Charlie Cox was going to be the hot. Like I didn't know he was going to be there. When I saw him, I was like, okay, that's the huge cameo. Aside from all, because I knew all the villains are coming back,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh god, okay, that's the huge cameo, and I was happy, and I'm like, oh my god. And honestly, like after talking after the movie, uh, she was like, "You remember Daredevil was in that too, right?" And I was like, "Holy shit, Daredevil was in the movie! I forgot about it. Oh my god!" So yeah, I loved it. I got to go see it again. I keep saying that, and now I mean it seems like it'll be in theaters for a while, but
Yeah.
yeah. If I'm nitpicking, that's what I'm nitpicking about. But overall, I thought it was a much better Spider-Man movie. It was actually nice to see him in New York, like even the first one. Well,
Mm.
Civil War was his first one, but even his first solo movie, he goes to Washington, all this other stuff. It was nice seeing him in New York and him dealing with the fallout.
Yeah. I mean, that was I think Screen Rant or somebody it may have been Screen Rant. Like they did their pitch meeting for the movie and they were like essentially, well, what about like Flash Thompson's book? Like that says Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and what about the internet? Like the internet has video of Peter Parker. People have videos of Peter Parker. Like what happens to digital copies? Like all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
that's where yeah, the nitpick kind of happens. But this was the one time I think in all of my nerd history that was actually okay with the mind wipe. Like the whole amnesia thing. Like that's actually the biggest complaint I had and why I stopped watching Smallville was season 1. I've said it on the show before. Season 1, he runs into a tornado. Lana Lane
oh
sees
yeah,
him. She's like, "Oh man, you have powers." Hits her head. Opening of season 2. Forgot the whole tornado even happened, and I was like, "Well, that's a stupid waste of, you know, everything that just happened."
yeah,
In this one, I was like, my issue with all the Spider-Man movies was he had Iron Man tech. Like he was he had all cool gadgets and he was popular, and it was everything almost wrong with Spider-Man. And when the movie ended and they did the mind wipe and he's going for his GED and he has the crappy apartment and he stitched together a suit, I was like, this is the Spider-Man I actually do want to see movies on. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want him to, I don't want any of Tony Stark Jr. I want this Spider-Man to be a thing. So I was actually, this is the one time where like continuity errors and writing into a corner where I was like, I'm fine with these flaws. I'm actually going to ignore these flaws because I think we can now get potentially better movies, or not even better, but movies that I want to see as far as the Spider-Man movie goes. Him being like a loser.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. Yeah, he was too. And actually, I was talking probably with Sal or somebody, but it was like, yeah, why did he have to stitch together the suit? And
Yeah.
then whoever I was talking to was like, well, because so hang on, pause, not literally, sorry. In the comics, when do you know how he puts his identity back in the bottle in the comics?
I don't remember that. No.
All right, so it's really stupid. Peter Parker literally makes a deal with the devil in comics. Like it was after Civil War.
Mm.
Uh, Aunt May gets shot. He takes her to a hospital. He turned on Iron Man, so now he was wanted and all this other stuff.
Mm.
Uh, and May's gonna die. There's actually a really cool scene where he smacks up Kingpin because
Mm.
Kingpin is the one who hired the hitman to try to kill him, and he hit May instead.
Mm.
Uh, and so, long story short, he takes the deal with the devil. It erases him and Mary Jane's marriage. You find out to get May's life back, him and Mary Jane have lost their future child. Like they see, like I always say it's supposed to be Mayday Parker because that's who she was in the MC2, I think they called it.
Mm.
Very good series, by the way.
Mm.
Uh, one of those types of things. But everybody forgets that he was Spider-Man. The identity goes back in the bottle, but he doesn't remember that he took the deal with the devil to do it, because Mary Jane says to the devil, like, it was a big mystery for years, like what she said, but she ends up they saying something along the lines of like, Peter will never accept this if he thinks that you did this and he knows about this. He's like, you
Mm.
have to. She goes, you have to figure something else out. You have to put some sort of other idea in his head that he did this some other way. And the other idea he has is that he went to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange ends up going to Tony Stark and saying, "Hey, listen, I can do your exact point." Doctor Strange goes, "I can do the mystic stuff. Wiping everybody's mind is no problem." He goes, "There's files, there's video, there's digital. My sorcery doesn't touch that stuff. So it has it's a so he ends up doing a combo sorcery tech virus thing. So two different ways. That's why everybody's like, "Oh my God, Mephisto, Mephisto, Mephisto!" Because and especially this, they're like, "Where's Mephisto going to show up at?"
Mm.
Uh, so that's how they did it in the comics. But I don't know why I went on that rant now. But yeah, so that's why he has to stitch the suit together. I brought it back.
Yeah.
Uh, because all the Stark tech, if somehow the spell worked on Tech too, the Stark tech was all coded to Peter Parker. Everybody forgets who the hell Peter Parker is. So the suit, if he tries to put it on or activate it, it's going to be like, unidentified user.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And if it was Sal, I'm giving Sal the credit. If it wasn't Sal, somebody correct me. Uh, but yeah. So I mean that makes sense. And again, now it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he has all this experience, so it is kind of cool because I don't want a bumbling Spider-Man. Like, let him have the experience since now he has four, no, however many movies worth of it. But yeah, I'm excited to see like not like truly the public is split against him because I guess they still think Spider-Man killed Mysterio
Mhm.
and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm happy that he doesn't have like 10 different Stark suits to choose from and all this other stuff. And now it also opens up for him to he's had these toys and now we can really start to see him like tinker as things go on. Like a big threat comes up. Well, a suit of armor would really help me. All right, here's what I can do. And he makes his own, like, he's had his own. He never had this Tony Stark suit. So he always made his own spider armors in the comics.
Yeah.
So
And then he had the like the version where he's like the Tony Stark, where he's all rich and uses his money with Doc Ock, I think,
yeah,
to make like the Iron Spider suit and all that stuff.
yeah, he advances. I mean, and that's cool because like Peter Parker is a genius. So like that was actually I love those comic runs where like he was uh leading into the Doc Ock stuff. He was like working at some think tank,
Yeah,
and it's the same sort of thing. He developed tech to fight bad guys, and then he's like, oh wait, I can reverse engineer this. I made these earmuffs so that the sonic attack guy couldn't deafen me. These actually make really good earbuds. I'm gonna here you go, and so it was showing his ingenuity in that way.
yeah.
But yeah, MCU. I've gone to see it, but I haven't had too much really enthusiasm, and we've talked about why. But now I am like excited for another Spider-Man movie with this guy in his new status quo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they I wanted them to do something like this, I think, even after the blip, as they're calling it, which you guys hate. I like some sort of reset to everything. And this one, even though it's the only one, I'm okay with it. I'm like, all right, this is at least one character where starting from square one, we go on. But the other thing in the movie that I was kind of confused by was, we had the Loki TV show, we had WandaVision. There's a lot of mystic reality warping, time jumping, universe jumping happening all at exactly the same time. And I feel like that's where Marvel, to me, didn't plan it properly. They just had titles and they had ideas. They wrote the stories, but then things were happening and it's like, oh, like the Loki thing, like, is that what created the multiverse that Doctor Strange sees, in Spider-Man, when the sky portals are opening up? Is that a whole different thing? Like when he sees the visions of the scenarios where the Avengers lose in Infinity War, is that the Loki universes? Is it not the Loki? Like, so many different things they had going at one time that all are happening at the same time. I was just confused. I was like, wait, what is the canon explanation of these other universes? What is actually happening? And which one do we follow now? Is it, like there was even a joke online, where were the Time Lords in
Yeah,
not Time Lords. I was watching Doctor Who.
timekeepers.
Timekeepers. Yeah. Where were they in all of this? Like, that's, I mean, unless it's supposed to happen, I guess, and they're like, all right, well, we'll let it happen. But to me, I was like, there's too many big world-changing events happening at once, and they're not acknowledging that they're happening in the other shows.
Yeah, that's like, and that's the problem they ran into with Agents of Shield in the
Mm-hmm.
first couple seasons because they were trying to reference the movies, but
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't reference the movies
Mm-hmm.
because like the timing and whatnot. And then when they did, it was like a quick little thing. And now these guys are doing the opposite. They're just like they want us to, oh, they've got a plan, and we just have to theorize until somehow, some way they put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I'm like, it is it is a lot to like think about, and where the hell, and like you said, where are they? And like the only thing I've come up with, if you're looking for my take on it, which I assume you are, I'm on your show. I'm assuming like it's like the same way they say that when uh Agatha falls, that's where
Mm.
he who remains drops the piece of fruit or whatever,
Yeah.
and all the branches are going off. Since Loki is out of time, I'm assuming like all those things are happening. Like it's like a weird thing because then you almost need to be a fucking scientist to think about it. But it's like, because he's out of time, there all those events are lining up for him, even though in like, our viewing timeline, clearly WandaVision was first, and now much later is Spider-Man, and sprinkled in there some places even Hawkeye and everything else. I'm assuming that, yeah, Loki, by the time Loki ends and like he sees all the branches coming off, that's that syncs up to what we saw in the end of Spider-Man, where you have all the other people coming, like, about to show up
Hmm.
for a second. And like at one point, I'm like, is that an Eternal that showed up? And then I'm like, oh no, it's Crave. It's supposed to be Craven. Like somebody else broke it down. Like one's supposed to be Craven, one's supposed to be Scorpion, one's supposed to be Black Cat,
Hmm.
all that stuff. I was very confused. I was like, wait a minute, or like, not the Eternals, the Celestials. I was like, are the Celestials about to show up here? Because I just saw, the big creature or figures in the sky, and then
Hmm.
that made more sense that it was those
Yeah.
guys. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they are asking us to take a lot on faith and like that they will eventually explain it, and it's kind of like, will they? Won't they? I don't know. I just hope, like, kind of like I said with Star Wars, I hope they don't put it in like some, stupid expensive omnibus that you have to read, and it's like one. I hope Doctor Strange answers the question. In which case, we only have what, a couple of months, right? It comes out in May,
Hmm.
so. But yeah, they left us with a lot of questions and no real answers.
Well, you brought up a good point in the last episode of Rambling, where you're like they can't be putting all this stuff in comic books. Like people are not reading them to that extent anymore. Like the hardcores are, but you already have us going to the movie. Like we don't need that extra push to go see a movie because we're like, oh, we have to read the tie-ins and all this kind of stuff. So they got to somehow put all of this in movie or TV form. The comic books are maybe like a side dish that doesn't affect the main dish, if anything. Um,
Yeah,
but
like case in point, I'd be okay if they did like a tie-in comic that was canon where it shows you Steve and Natasha and Falcon and what they did in a couple years leading into Infinity War.
right when they're in the run,
Like, because they're never going to do a movie about that or
right?
anything else. But like, this is like big stuff where they have to. I mean, to me and to you, they have to put it on film of some sort, TV screen, movie screen, something. They have to give it to us in like this sort of format because I don't know, they just do.
Yeah, sure. The one thing, and we'll move on to Hawkeye, but the one thing I wanted in this movie that did not happen was a nice throwback to, I think for most of us, our Spider-Man, which is the animated series.
Mm,
One, I thought there was going to be some sort of Madam Web involvement here with the universe and all that kind of stuff going on. But from the Madam Web or the Spider Wars saga, was it the Spider Wars? I think it was called the final season of Spider-Man, when they had the different Spider-Men come in. They're the
yeah,
original
I think they did
Spider-Verse.
call it Spider Wars or something. But
Yeah,
anyway, I know what you're talking about. I'm sure everybody does who's listening to.
yeah. So I wanted a throwback to that, where a version of Spider-Man comes through, a version of Peter Parker comes through, and they're like, "Oh, well, we have another Spider-Man," and he's just like, "Oh, I'm just an actor. Like I don't have any powers." And I wanted
Yeah,
it to be the voice actor that played Spider-Man 1993. Like I was
yeah.
like, that would have been the deepest nostalgia cut, I think, aside from if the actor who played Spider-Man in the 70s is still alive. But that aside, if he and they the rumor, I mean, I don't want to, I'll say it anyway because it's speculation. But everybody's speculating slash hoping that the voice actor from the original series is in the new Spider-Verse movie. But
I hope
I
so too.
I really wanted him to walk through a portal and be like, "Oh, yeah, I know that he's Spider-Man because I've voiced him for 20 years or something like that." Like
Yeah,
would have been
I would
and
have appreciated that.
yeah, and like nobody would have known except for the people who recognize the voice, you know.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing. Even sometimes, like, he would have to make sure to do it spot on because he actually did. There was some Spider-Man video game that has multiple Spider-Man in it,
Mhm.
and he actually voiced Spider-Man 2099.
Mm.
And so he changed his voice. I think he changed his voice a little bit.
He'd have
So,
to, yeah.
because yeah, exactly. So it's and then like I don't know how I found it out, but I did find out that it was the same guy. And I was like, oh shit. And then I heard the voice. I'm like, oh, if you really, if you really, really listen, but he has to make sure to do it spot on.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of voice cast, I mean, I'm sure you know, but they're going to do a Disney show, a Disney Plus show about the 97 X-Men cartoon, right? They're
Yeah.
going to continue it.
Yeah.
I saw something on Instagram where the original Wolverine actor was in the studio,
Ooh.
and it was like I saw it, just I should have sent it to you. Maybe I did. It's probably lost in all the memes. Uh, yeah, so it was like, I forget the guy's name. I'm sorry. But it was like,
Well,
yep, so and so in the studio recording for X-Men 97, which is, I think that's the title of the show too. But so that was
or
cool.
so I think I wasn't as excited for that announcement only because I didn't look to see because I don't know who any of them are, but it's got to be the same. Not even the voice actors as much, but it's got to be the same animators. But more specifically, it's got to be the same story writers. Like without those two elements, you don't have the same magic. I think that's gonna be
Uh, I'm
crucial.
90% that it is. That
I
was
mean, it
why
has to
everybody's
be.
so excited.
Yeah, it has to
Yeah,
be. Otherwise, it fails. It just it's a
yeah.
sequel trilogy scenario.
And we don't need any more of those. I'm
Yes, sir.
excited because if that goes off well, maybe we can get, a revival of Spider-Man, the our, from the 90s. It was just called Spider-Man the Animated Series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can get one of that one. However, and let me know if you don't want to segue just yet, but that kind of a revival of animated shows doesn't always work.
I was thinking the same thing actually. I was like, oh, I wonder if we should go into that or not. We might as well, and then we can always loop
Yeah.
back. Well, because the loop back to Hawkeye, I think the tie-in that we would want is another revival anyway. So maybe we'll just title this episode "Revival" to to wrap it in a nice bow. But you're right. So I'm currently watching. I gave it another shot. Like this is the third shot I'm giving it. I'm watching Young Justice season
Hmm.
4, and apparently you had already been watching it. I had no idea. Now, for anybody who is not familiar, Young Justice was the new version of Teen Titans, essentially, where it was a more serious show. It was more in line with Justice League than it was Teen Titans, and it was Robin, Aqualad, Martian Manhunter's niece, Mrs. Martian, and other people, and how they were just sidekicks trying to make it. But it was a more adult type show, and as the show progressed, they actually got older season by season. After 2 seasons of pure magic was canceled, wasn't selling toys. Twitter, the Twitter army, bring back Young Justice, bring back Young Justice. Finally, our voices are heard. They bring it back. Season 3, absolute trash. Absolute trash. And season 4 gets announced. I hear nothing of it even being released. I stumble on it. Starts off as trash. But you're way further into season 4 than I am. And it sounds like you're enjoying it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's still a little bit dragging in parts.
Mm.
Uh, it seems like they're sticking to like a 3 or 4 episode. Actually, I'm looking at it right now just to try. It seems like it's going to be a 3 issue. I'm sorry, I'm getting my mediums confused.
Yeah.
It seems as though it's a 3 to 4 episode arc
Mm.
for each thing. So, like, the first bunch was they went to Mars because Superboy and Ms. Martian were going to get married.
Right.
And then, I don't know, it just like, it dragged.
By the way,
The, you know,
real quick. We won't spoil Young Justice season 4. Just and that wasn't a spoiler that they go to Mars to get married, but we won't spoil it. One, because I haven't finished it, but two, people may be listening who had no idea season 4 even came out. So we'll attempt to keep that one spoiler free.
okay, we'll do. Okay, yeah. So, let me try to get non-spoilery thoughts in my head. Okay, so
Well,
like the first
okay,
3 episodes just dragged.
yeah.
That's there's other stuff in it I didn't care for, but again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spoil. It seems to me, it's so far anyway, it seems to me that it's separate. It's lacking the overarching story that Like It or Hate It season three even had, and especially that seasons one or two had. To me, I don't see a common thread. It
Mm,
seems like they're just telling, uh, which is cool. They have all these other characters that they're bringing in, and that you wouldn't get an animated show of otherwise.
mhm.
But it's like you're doing 3 episodes of these guys, 3 episodes of those girls, 3 episodes again with everybody, and the pacing seems off in some of them. And I don't know if there's a common thread throughout the whole season, or if it's just going to be these mini series within a whole season, for lack of a clearer thought. So that's where I'm at now.
Well,
So yeah,
but I also feel
and
like
again, with
but I feel like an ongoing issue that started with season 3 and I'm seeing in season 4 is Dick Grayson is not like the main focus, or he's not even in the mix. Like with the first 2 seasons, the first one you can argue whether he was a main character or not, but he was there. Like every episode, or majority of them, he's there in some capacity, pushing the story along. Season 2, he's there as well. Season 3, he's kind of pulled out of the mix because they have this whole like Illuminati secret Young Justice team going on. But then here, I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I'm still not seeing him. And I'm like, what? It feels like I understand that it's younger characters, but I think at a certain point, you still got to have certain core characters in these shows to keep your interest, because these are the ones that you're most attached to. No?
yeah, yeah. I haven't. I think I've seen him, but it's kind of like what they did to Robin in season three. You see him, but he's never voiced.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I saw him
Wait,
in one
wait.
episode, and
By Robin, do you mean Tim Drake?
yeah, in season three, well, he was in season two and he had a big role.
Right.
And then in season, I'm looking because I'm cheating. I have HBO Max up right now, so I'm looking at the episodes. Uh, and then yeah, in season three, they start pretty much with like Batman walking out on the Justice League and all that,
Right.
because of everything.
Yeah.
He does. I don't. Maybe not in the entire season, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't say a word. I'm like 90% that anytime Robin is on screen, he's silent.
Dick
And I think
Grayson?
that if it, no, no, no,
Tim
Tim
Drake.
Drake, season three.
Yep.
And I'm saying, I think I've seen Nightwing in the new season, in season four, once or twice. And if I have, it's been the same thing. He's silent. He doesn't say anything, or if he does say anything, he doesn't say anything of consequence. He's not a character in the show
Yeah.
for this season.
Yeah.
And like you said, there are other characters that they're using and that were in the other seasons very effectively. But like I was saying to you before the show, and you told me to save it very wisely, I liked that season. I liked those first 2 seasons. That was the team I wanted to see. It doesn't always have to be that, but it's like it it doesn't even feel like Young Justice anymore. It's like I say, so far in this season, it feels like miniseries with characters that can't get their own show.
Mm.
Which, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I wouldn't mind one shots and things like that, but I don't like this isn't it to me.
And I just thought about it as you're talking too. Like these main characters are in the intro to the show. Like
Yeah, that's the other thing.
it's to that extent where you have the intro role for season 4. They're going back to the season 2 style because season 3 was just no intro anyway. I'm a big fan of intros. And it's Dick Grayson as Nightwing. It's Spider Boy, Superboy, Miss Martian. It's the black
Aqualad.
girl. I can't think of her name. Yeah, Aqualad. I'm just like you're showing all these people intro to the season. They're not even in the season. Like, what's the
Yeah.
what's the idea here? What's the point? And otherwise, to what you were saying, intro the show, Artemis, the different clones of Harper, all of those people, which I like those people. Orphan, that character is dope. Put them in the intro. So we were like, all right, these are the main players
Yeah.
this time around. But the other part too, as I mentioned, Orphan there, I think the issue that's happened too much is season 1 into 2, they introduced new characters like Tim Drake. No backstory. Blue Beetle, no backstory. And it's okay because we kind of know them anyway. But now they're in between seasons introducing new characters like Orphan. I have no idea who this person is. There's other ones that come in, and like there's a new Red Arrow. I don't know who she is. Like they're like deep cutting the comics here with like, oh, here's this person part of the Bat family. Even in one of the episodes, not Talia al Ghul, the other girl,
Lady Shiva.
Lady Shiva. She's like, and leave all the Bat family at home. Like they're bringing all these people in, but it's like for the not hardcore people, you still got to do some sort of explaining as to who these people are.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know who Orphan is supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
but I had to think about it. I'm like, oh, okay. And spoilers, should I tell who she's supposed to be?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she is Batgirl 2 in the comics. She's uh, why do I want to say she's Cassandra Cain? Actually, is that right?
Isn't Cassandra Cain Batwoman?
Yes. So who the something Cain? I'll look it up in a second. But she is in comics the second Batgirl. She shows up during No Man's Land. If I want to say, and same thing. She's like Lady Shiva's daughter, or she maybe not
Cassandra
Lady Shiva.
Wusan.
Cassandra. Okay, Cassandra. I had the Cassandra part. Is she Lady Shiva's daughter in the comics? Anyway. She's an assassin's daughter in the comics. She's like a living weapon. Pretty much everything you see in the show. But she's Batgirl. There was none of this orphan stuff, and that's the other thing too. Uh, but I can't talk about it because it would be very
Mm,
spoilery for how she comes into the show. But I'm not happy with how she is in the show either.
yeah.
You remember you remember, right? In the episode, you're up to that?
Um, I don't want to confirm or deny in case there's something that you know that I don't know yet.
Okay.
Well, right now,
But
like when I look up who she is, she's the daughter of Lady Shiva and David Kane, and
David Kane.
her costume is based on her time as Batgirl, which up to where I am now in like episode 3 or 4, they never shown her as Batgirl anyway. So
Right.
like it's almost like all this stuff has happened in between, but it's like you didn't show any of it on screen. Like that's a big
Yeah,
jump.
yeah. Like how did she get in with them
Yeah.
and everything she had to overcome? Yeah, in the comics now, I think she using Orphan in the comics now? But she was Batgirl for forever, for years and years, and then they switched things up, and now everybody has. I've seen stuff on Instagram. Everybody has a bat emblem on them now.
Yeah.
Spoiler has a bat emblem.
Yeah.
Red Hood, which I know, you know.
I didn't even know who Spoiler was. They referenced Spoiler in Young Justice, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I saw she's in one of the preview images that was up on the screen for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, I'm okay with them expanding it,
Right.
but it's I don't know. You're doing it just to do it at that point, almost. Because, like I say, her and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're old. I like the season long thing, the storyline. You know, I like the progression.
Oh.
I like seeing where it goes. This just like unless they tie it all together, because I got to imagine. Let me just see real quick because my screen went dark. Sorry, hang on.
As you
Season 4 to date has 13 episodes,
wow.
and season 3, come on, any second now.
Well, remind me to come back to and I'll just fill in the dead air here, but
Sorry,
you're
26.
26, so they're
Season
almost
3 had
halfway.
26. Yeah, so
Okay.
they're halfway through, and I'm not seeing, unless I'm just completely missing it, I'm not seeing a common thread.
So it's funny.
Season 2 had 20,
I'm
and
actually
season 1, sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Season 1 had 26. So
I'm of
they're
the
almost at
opposite
the
camp.
end.
I'm the opposite camp of I don't like the season long story. Here's why. I like the and today I was randomly watching Justice League because why not? And
Mhm.
it was the episode where um they're going Justice League Unlimited. Luther gets the I almost said Skynet, but that's Centurions. The
Brainiac?
he's controlled by Brainiac, and he gets the javelin to shoot down at Academy Center that had long been emptied or whatever. And they're like, oh, like he entered his body from that. Remember that time he shot him, and that was not even Justice League Unlimited at that point. That was a callback to like Justice League. And when he made Amazo, that was also like 2 seasons prior in Justice League. Like, I like when there's a story happening, but there's all these individual arcs that happened in between, and they call back to old stuff. I like that format as opposed to 26 episodes of the same plot going on, and I'm not getting a break. Or if I get a break, it's some random the buddy cop type episode in season 3 where Roy Harper, his clone, and then Red Guardian do the security team thing with Dick
Yeah.
Grayson. Like, I don't want that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like that, but I don't want that to be the break in a 26 episode storyline. I'd rather it just be like, 3 episode arcs throughout the whole thing, and then yes, there might be ties throughout to the larger story, but I don't want them to be solving the same problem for 26 episodes.
Okay. But I mean, I'm not even seeing, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even seeing that. I'm not seeing,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm seeing this as like 3 episodes, full stop, go on to something else. And yeah, there's scenes where you see the characters from the other episode, and you get a little update on what they're doing, but what they're doing does not tie into this.
Yeah.
So it should have, and I'm really tired of all the time jumping in
Yeah.
shows lately because I got through Witcher season 1, jumping topics real quick,
Yeah.
and I was just like, it was good. I'm glad I finally did it. I'm looking forward to starting season 2, but I was just like, holy shit! Oh, like where is everybody? When is everybody? That was very irritating.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want them to do it here because I'm tired of it, but I don't like, finish the people who are in the first 3 episodes, finish their story, end in episode 3 or 4, and end with them leading into the big bad for the season. And then you go to the next group of guys and you give them their 3 episodes, and then you end that with leading into their where they're coming in at for the big fight of the season. Something. It's just I'm enjoying the episodes, but it's like this isn't Young Justice at a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, you mentioned the reviving something, and to jump back into Marvel, we officially, I'd say, have the revival of the Daredevil franchise, because not only did Wilson Fisk show up in Hawkeye, but Charlie Cox, Daredevil, shows up in Spider-Man. So, one, were you disappointed he didn't don the suit in Spider-Man? 2, are you looking forward to another Daredevil, or would you rather him cameo in other shows?
I'm not mad that he didn't don the suit because it wouldn't have made sense.
Oh,
It would
come
have
on.
been doing
He would have shown up on the Statue of Liberty to fight alongside everybody. Man, that would have been so cool.
that would have made no if they kept him as a character throughout the movie,
Yeah.
yes. But and if it doesn't happen in the Statue of Liberty, because I mean, all right, whatever. They all
You're
portal there, but
telling me
still.
that wouldn't have been cool if my man took the ferry over to Statue of Liberty and he's at
Yeah,
the front.
maybe
He's just
he could have
waiting.
hijacked the Staten Island ferry, and then Josh could have had a cameo too.
Exactly.
We just want throw everybody can have a freaking cameo in this.
Everybody
movie.
has cameo in the movie.
Throw in Ben Affleck. What the hell's he doing?
That would have been wonderful.
That would is Daredevil exactly right. Um, it could have been a moment like in Justice League where they phase between Hal Jordan and John Stewart,
Yeah.
and both of them know exactly what's going on. You know, he
He's
just
like,
like
don't worry,
blips out.
don't worry, I'm up to speed. Keep going.
Yeah, it's like what? Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
I'm a really good lawyer. What? No. Anyway, uh,
Great
oh, of
episode.
course. Come on. It would have been really cool. Did part of me want it? But I wasn't upset that he didn't do it. It's like,
Mm,
that's the thing. I mean, I think that's my answer to your question. I wasn't
yeah.
upset. Did I want it? Yeah. I wasn't upset they didn't do it
Right.
because it would have been like, with everything else that they had to do, then I would have been annoyed because then it would have been too many questions. It'd be like, well, where the hell is he? Why is he operating here? What? Why didn't he do anything in Hawkeye? They were in New York in Hawkeye. They had stuff going on in Hawkeye. Wouldn't the Devil of Hell's Kitchen taken a little bit of an interest? That sort of thing. Uh,
I already thought that though,
you really thought what?
because Rockefeller
Oh, you
Center,
already thought that.
yeah,
Yeah,
Rockefeller
yeah,
Center is exactly west of Hell's Kitchen.
yeah. Well, I mean, now we know.
That he's
In
there.
hindsight, we know that Daredevil or Matt Murdock is around, but we didn't know that at the time. I mean, that would have been cool, but that was just wishful thinking. Now it's like, oh, why didn't they do that? Because they were saving him for No Way Home, but they could have showed Spider-Man swinging through Rockefeller Center, and they could have showed Daredevil like watching Kingpin waiting to strike, but not, Echo takes that chance away. Whole bunch of things could have happened.
Yeah.
I'm happy with what we got. I'm okay that he didn't throw the suit on. I what was the other part of your question?
Do you want it to be a solo Daredevil show like season 4, or do you want him to cameo in other shows, or maybe like instead of it being Daredevil season 4, it's a season 2 of Hawkeye, but Daredevil's there, or some season 2 of Cap and Winter Soldier, Daredevil's in that one. Like, how do you want the story of Matt Murdock to continue?
I won't even lie. This is all coming off the top of my head because I really haven't thought about that because I've been thinking about where I want Spider-Man to go.
Mm,
So I've been sleeping on this part. But I mean, I had kind of mentioned it in like hoping that he comes back. Or no, excuse me. Because he mentioned that he was going to be back as Daredevil. He just didn't say how or why. So I think
right.
Sal and I were spitballing. Uh, I want him peppered in a couple of more cameos. I want him She-Hulk, excuse me, She-Hulk. She's a lawyer herself. Call in Matt Murdock for hit because he's a very good attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Call him in for some, reintroduce me to what's going, like, kind of fill me in on his new status quo by having him guest spot in the next in that show. Maybe if I don't even know what other TV shows they have coming down the pipe aside from that, but anything else that would make sense for him to kind of swoop in there in his suit and offer advice on, and we can get some more information from that. Cool. Obviously, I want him to suit up at some point. I don't know how or when yet. Uh, and as for a continuation of Daredevil, only if they get same thing, get the band back together
Mm-hmm.
and do not meddle.
Yeah.
Let that be your Marvel Knights series on Disney Plus. Give it the warning, strong violence, don't let your kids watch this, and make it the same sort of tone and grit that seasons 1 and 3 had. I enjoyed all 3 of those seasons of Daredevil, but I know a lot of people hated 2. So I'm saying, I think 1 and 2 are, you know, the least controversial thing, saying that people liked how those 2 seasons went. So give us the tone of those 2. I mean, I'm scared too because Disney has to keep their hands off, but Disney
Yeah.
can't keep their hands off their toys.
No. Interesting. I didn't know people hated season 2. Was it did they hate?
I
Did they
mean,
hate
don't you remember at
Punisher?
Comic-Con
No. Well,
when I
what happened?
walked around when the last Comic-Con I went to with you when I
Yeah.
was dressed as Daredevil?
Yeah.
Uh, I a couple times I had heard, oh, see, I don't think season 3 came out at that point yet, but like, nope, we were like, oh, that show sucked. They like people were just ragging on it because they were just not
Really?
happy with. I mean, I like the Punisher stuff. I think people had a problem with
No,
with
season two was long out when you went to Comic
season
Con.
two was long. And that was another thing that broke it up into the Daredevil arc, and then they went into the hand stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it had a little too much going on, but I think it was the hand stuff that people really got annoyed with, where they were like, "Oh my God, all these ninjas and all this stuff!" Like they
Oh, I thought
thought
that
it
was
was
great.
getting too superhero-y. I enjoyed it. Like the
Yeah,
only thing I hated was like not hated, but it was like, oh, okay, come on, you guys should have gotten some more extras. Where like at the
yeah,
end, he's like, "There's hundreds of them,"
yeah,
and then like 20 guys later,
yeah,
they've won.
yeah.
It's
That was
like, can't you count?
yeah that was an issue. I actually thought in that season that that blonde kid in the hospital bed, like when the hand attacked the hospital, I thought they were going to end up making that kid Iron Fist. Like for some, to me that made sense that he would have powers and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, my biggest issue with that whole hand thing was the fight on the roof. I was like, you guys seem to have a lot less ninjas now, and I feel like
Yeah.
they didn't do anything with the tunnel that they dug out thing. Like
Well,
they met
that ties in the Defenders.
right, but he falls in it. But not there was. I don't think there was like. I feel like there was nothing super revealing about that tunnel.
Well, yeah, because they saved it for the Defenders.
Am I forgetting something that major happened in the tunnel aside from him getting buried in there?
In Yeah,
Defenders.
they in Defenders, that the whole, I mean, love it or hate it, and spoilers for the Defenders. The dragons that were like the Guardians or whatever of Kunlun, uh, the old, I forget her character's name. The old woman
Mm-hmm.
says that like those creatures used to be everywhere, and it's their fossils when they grind them down. That's what makes gives the hand their stuff to make them immortal. And basically, they hint that like when famous cities have fallen in the past, it's because they've been digging for the fossils because they need more of their bones.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Defenders, they finally go back to the tunnel, and the final fight happens there, and Elektra tricks Iron Fist into punching the wall that's keeping them out because only the Iron Fist could break the wall, type of deal. And then you see like all these skeletons of the dragons, and then the rest of everybody shows up to try to get Iron Fist, and then they have the big final fight with the hand, and then that ends with Daredevil and Elektra seemingly dying because building that they were under they set charges and it collapses into the tunnel to shore up all the excavation to like fill the hole that they had made. This way, Manhattan doesn't sink.
I
In
forgot
a
all that
nutshell.
happened. I forgot all that happened.
Yeah, because I thought you were messing with me. I'm like,
No, no, no.
it's like the entire point of the show.
Well,
Uh,
Defenders, which was
yeah,
a forgettable
Defenders.
show,
Well, the
except for
fighting was
him.
very good.
Yeah, but he was the best part of it. Again, it was like the Daredevil show plus his
That was
friends.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was like Captain America: Civil War.
right,
It was Daredevil 2.5.
right, right.
Or excuse
Uh,
me, the same way Civil War was Avengers 2.5. Sorry.
y- yes. Wait, no. Oh,
Just
right,
in
right,
terms of like
right.
having
Yeah,
everybody in there. Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're already approaching an hour. Um, so why don't we wrap it up with Book of Boba Fett? Two episodes in.
Ooh.
Two episodes in. I'm reading a lot of hate on the internet towards this show. And I feel like this is the first time ever I disagree with the masses on a Star Wars show. So I'm curious, are you loving or hating the Book of Boba Fett?
I'm loving it, but I haven't read anything. Why are people hating on it?
They're just, where do I start? So there are people now who just will hate Star Wars because it's Disney anyway. Like Last
Hmm.
Jedi created this nexus on the internet that I was sucked into for a long time of people who just hate everything Star Wars, everything Disney Star Wars. They're ruining it. They're making it, you know, there's nothing about the show's woke yet, but they're ruining it. They're ruining the character, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
I can see where somebody would assume that because they're humanizing him and humanizing the Tusken Raiders. But my issue is that if those same people watched Star Wars Clone Wars when you had Boba Fett as a child, they already started humanizing him. Like he
Hmm.
eventually just became a bounty hunter because he was like, that's just how I get paid. And you could see the conflict in him, but he's just a guy trying to make a buck. He just happens to be good at violence. Not
Yeah.
that good, which is also ruining what people think of Boba Fett because he always, yeah, he had the two moments in Star Wars, the movies, and he gets smacked up easily. Um, but he's supposed to be the most dangerous bounty hunter in the galaxy. Uh, I think only second to Cad Bane, if anything. And in the
Hmm.
show, he's not that great of a fighter. Like he's all beat up. The Sarlacc pit really took a lot out of him. But when you watch Star Wars Clone Wars, the cartoon, he's as a kid, he's not a great fighter either. So a lot of people are seeing it and being like, "This isn't Boba Fett. This is just an old guy who is like wacky and too human. Where is the most dangerous bounty hunter at? Like where is he? That's not what this is."
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's a different story to tell altogether because, I mean, yeah, I disagree with that because this is okay. So obviously, this isn't that bold. I mean, sorry, I'm processing as you said. I mean, okay, yeah, the internet is right in that that's not the Boba Fett we're seeing, but that's also not the Boba Fett story that they're trying to tell.
Right.
You know, it'd be one thing if they did do that, which would be them going back in time again and like telling stories in between the original trilogy, which they did, and I don't think they have plans to do again. Well, excuse me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, but I don't think they're going to do movies about that anymore. And then doing that, that also sets them into a corner because oh well, what are we going to do? Are we going to cut them in to? Are we going to like uh, show scenes of him on Slave One when he's supposed to be tracking Han Solo and Falcon in Empire Strikes Back? You know, are we supposed to show him like hanging out with Frozen Han at Jabba's palace? You know, all leading into Return of the Jedi, and then what do we do? Do we end with him going into the Sarlacc pit? Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the badass Boba Fett. It would be cool to kind of see him at his peak,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm again like, if you want to do that, go for it. You know, you can have one big like flashback story season or something where you just like see him operating on all cylinders and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, this is a guy who crawled out of a Sarlacc pit. He's clearly screwed up from that experience. He's been just baking out in the hot sun for who, like, however long you want to say. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay, at least a couple of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they say that that's where the Mandalorian season one picks up is 5 years after Return of the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to Tatooine in season one, so he's been there for 5 years roughly. And no, I mean it shows him learning to survive, like in a new set of circumstances, and maybe he's like after that experience, like you almost got eaten alive, like it's gonna change you.
Yeah.
It's so now again, like I know I've said it a few times, but yeah, he's not that Boba Fett anymore. That guy died in Sarlacc pit, and now we got
Mm-hmm.
to see who we're left with. And I'm enjoying what they're doing with the Tusken Raiders because, like, yeah, they were mindless animals, and that was Anakin's point of view. And like Obi-Wan says, from a certain point of view, anything's true. Okay,
Yeah.
from his point of view, they're mindless animals. They took retribution on his mother for whatever reason, and I think there's even a book that says Palpatine arranged that.
Right.
So again, you have to read a friggin' stupid little tie-in comic to find that out, or whatever. But show us that they're not all like that, or what could possibly be a reason that they would do that. But yeah, I'm enjoying all the stuff with the Tusken Raiders and just like seeing this. I am annoyed, and again, this was because I just watched The Witcher, and I'm like, you guys, you're not Tarantino. Tarantino, stop using his technique of jumping around in the timeline. Tell me a linear story. My only complaint so far is open up Book of Boba Fett like they did. Him dreaming in the Bacta tank and flashback to all this, and then after 2 or 3 episodes,
We're done with
which
it.
is kind of what they're doing now. Now we're in current. Now start with all the stuff we saw with him and Fennec, leading into the rest of the series. Because I'm seeing some of the stuff that's happening now, and I'm intrigued, and then we go back in time, and now I'm more intrigued by that.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
me. That's my hot take.
The only complaint I have, surprisingly, is not a lack of originality here. Like, I feel like nothing original has happened on the show. I'm fine with it. I feel like the going into it, I was over Tatooine. Now they've got my intrigue with it, especially with the whole like Hut dying vortex that's been created with all the crime families. So I'm interested there.
Yeah.
My only complaint is Boba Fett is trying to be a crime boss here, like not a good person. And I feel like they're conveying it like he's coming to town, coming to the planet to, like you said, I want to rule with respect. Like he's trying to be a good guy.
Yeah.
That's my complaint, is that he's a mob boss here. Like he should show some ruthlessness somewhere. And I don't think we've seen yet. Like, yeah, he beat up those guys on the motorcycles, whatever. But, I just think that he's coming to town, like in The Mandalorian, as a good guy, like in the Westerns. Like this show and Mandalorian, heavy Western vibes. Guy rolls into town, single shooter, kills the bad guys. Like, he's not that guy. He comes into town to take over the town because he wants to rule it instead of whoever's currently ruling it. And I think that's the part that I'm struggling with, is that he's not truly yet a bad guy on the show. And that's what they want him. That's what they keep telling you that he is, but he's not.
Yeah, that. Now that you say, I'm more caught up in like getting him to this point, so I looked right over that. That is weird. Like, I intend to rule respect. Yeah, all right, do it differently than Jabba the Hutt, but it's Tatooine, and
Yeah.
it seems like you're trying to clean up the town
Exactly.
something.
Exactly.
Which again, okay, he's like I just said before. Yeah, he's a different person after crawling out of the Sarlacc, but then show me that different guy. He would totally, he would just be, show me Boba Fett who was embraced by the Tuskens, as we've seen so far, after he's proved himself and all that stuff. And then show me a Boba Fett who's like, you know what? Tatooine belongs to these guys, not the crime syndicates, not these people. I'm getting your friggin' planet back, guys. Like, and like, show me a Boba Fett who's going to town and just like wiping out people.
Right.
That would be more interesting and probably make people who are saying, "Oh, it's not peak badass Boba Fett" happy. But yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, good. But I'm enjoying all the stuff in the past. I just wish they told it linearly.
Yeah. Same.
How many episodes is this going to be?
I assume 8.
All right, so I mean, we're
2.
We got 2 down, 6 to go. So, and actually another one will be out in Oh, I thought today was Monday. I was going to say 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I'd agree. I agree with that. That it's a really weird take to have him like he wants to be like the nice guy mobster.
Yeah.
That is odd.
He needs to have a final episode is February 9th. So another 6, so probably 8 episodes.
Okay.
He needs to have a couple of Tony Soprano moments. He needs to have a couple moments where
Yeah.
there's good and there's bad, and he's like conflicted, but does the bad thing because that's what he's supposed to do, even though
Yeah.
it may not be what he wants to do. That's what we need.
Agreed.
Yeah, kill a Gumla or two. um, so any other last minute things before we wrap?
uh, I am gonna make myself watch The Matrix again, and then I can chit chat about that more intelligently. Uh,
I still don't think there's anything to intelligently talk about with that movie, but
I mean, there's definitely stuff to critique. I just want to have my critiques in order.
fair.
And I mean, my hot take on it is they should have just left it alone.
Which they say in the movie, which is
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely insane to me.
That whole stuff. I don't want to talk about it because I'm gonna get, but all that whole scene and anybody who knows it, it was just like, all right, that's just like a meta level too far
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, exactly.
So, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I hope that I have been enjoying when I take myself out of missing the overarching stuff. I have enjoyed the individual episodes of Young Justice. I just wonder where it's all pointing to. So I
Mhm.
am still excited to when it comes out. I'm happy about it. I think I mentioned to you. I don't remember if we were recording yet. Finally finished The Witcher season one. Can't wait to start season two. So that'll be coming up, and not necessarily in our usual realm, but I just saw tonight The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard is on HBO,
Part
and I
two.
wanted to see that part two, and I never got to it. And I hope that's just as like fun and stupid as the first one. So hopefully we'll be tuning into that sometime this week.
I'll let you just tell me how it is. I'll save myself the 2 hours.
Fair enough. Oh,
Um,
Ghostbusters is on digital, so you
yeah,
should definitely
I'm gonna buy
rent
it.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah, there's going to be the director of the all female one. Uh, Pressured Sony into making his movie part of the collection because they were going to do a issue. I keep crossing my platform. Sorry,
yeah,
a three
three.
movie
Yeah,
bundle, like DVD bundle, and I was like, people still have those, huh? Uh, with like features and behind the scenes, and it's like, oh, the three Ghostbusters, and he's like, hey, there's four actually. The director of the female one. Oh, and I have an answer for you. Really, last thing, I'll shut up. When I'd seen the other one, and we were like, oh, I don't know if it could tie in at all. It can't tie in. I still haven't seen the female one, but I'm told that Ernie Hudson of all the other Ghostbusters has a more significant cameo in it, and he doesn't mention anything about like, oh yeah, I did this in the '80s or anything.
mm.
So it's an alternate time. It's a timeline off. It's a branch. It's a branch. It's a branch reality.
I think they have the three movies. If I remember, it's the three movies, 1, 2, and Afterlife on
Yeah,
iTunes as a bundle for like $30. And I was gonna buy that,
they do.
but I already have the first one, and iTunes. I feel like at one point in time, iTunes used to like say, "Oh, you already own this. We're gonna take that amount off of the bundle," and they don't do that
Hmm.
anymore. So I might just buy
Yeah,
Afterlife on its own,
gotcha.
and then part
And
two,
I'm a
I'll just
terrible fan because I don't actually own either of the movies, so I'll get all three on digital.
yeah. I bought the first one because Joel, being a big fan, was like, "You can't go through your life not seeing this movie." So one day we just sat down and I bought it on iTunes for like $10. I think it was probably like two
Yeah.
years. Oh yeah, I talked about it on HeyArcher Live. I saw it like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half
Yep.
ago.
Yeah, I was shocked that you had never seen it because I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
So
So
yeah. Um, you obviously now have things you can actually plug outside of HeyArcher Live. So
I do.
Anthony, plug your shit.
I'm still gonna plug Hey Archer Live Thursday nights. It's coming back January 13th. This episode may be out before or after that. I don't
It
know.
will. Yeah.
8:15 ish. We'll see you there. Rambling with myself. We are Sal and I are going to get another one going soon, and we're also going to try to get we have a couple of snaps that we're talking about. We actually just have to. It's actually more thought involved than one would think, or at least, or maybe we're just overthinking it. We'll let you guys decide. But another episode of the Snap is coming down soon, and yeah, Rambling. Going to try to get Aaron on. I mentioned it in the YouTube comments, but I'll out myself here. The last episode of Rambling with Sal, I don't have a setup like yourself or Aaron, and we're doing it the way we're doing it. And my novice self forgot to hit record, so that's why it's a audio only episode. Sorry about that. And I will hopefully remember, or maybe my guests could ask me, "Hey, did you hit record?" That would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we got Rambling coming down, Snaps coming down. Hopefully be back on HeyArcher Live soon. It's always fun doing that. And yeah, I can't wait to play 2022's first game of either this week.
There you go. All of that fun stuff can be found here at Nerd Affiliated on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, all that fun stuff. HeyArcher Live, as he mentioned, Thursdays, 8:15-ish p.m. Eastern. HeyArcher podcast every other week or so, but Rambling and the Snap will be in between there. The HeyArcher vlog series, season 3, coming out this week. Just saying, there's a surprise on there. If you follow me on Instagram, you already saw it. But with that being said, talk to all you nerds. I feel like I usually say something else, don't I? It's been a while. I'm getting a little rusty here. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to all you. Yeah. That's it. I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video or podcast. Peace.